Dr. Ramjee Repaka is a professor in the Department of Mechanical Materials and Aerospace Engineering at IIT Dharwad. He received his bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from Andhra University, master's degree in mechanical engineering from Jadavpur University, Kolkata, and PhD in mechanical engineering from IIT Kharagpur. He worked as assistant professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering at IIT Rourkela and associate professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering at IIT Ropar before joining IIT Dharwad. He is also an associate editor for ASME Journal of Engineering and Science in Medical Diagnostics and Therapy, guest editor for a special issue on minimally invasive thermal therapies of ASME Journal of Engineering and Science in Medical Diagnostics and Therapy, editorial board member of Electromagnetic Devices, Frontiers in Medical Technology. His research areas include heat transfer, applied thermal engineering, bioheat transfer, cancer diagnosis and therapy, biomechanics, refrigeration and air conditioning, thermal management of electric vehicles.
And first of all, I thank the organizers for giving me the opportunity to speak on this particular aspect. And I'm very happy to be here after 21 years. So I'm alumnus of this institute, Jadavpur University. I did my master's in mechanical engineering from this Jadavpur University in 21-23. So it's a proud moment for me to come and speak on the topic in which I am not an expert in the apparent view. I will take you a dive into this topic, not from the technical perspective, and it will be a general talk so that everybody can enjoy, I feel, and I believe, the role of consciousness in human values. So this is how my presentation flows. And so I will start with the general definition of what is human value or what are the human values. So human values are principles that guide our actions and decisions in life and are inherent in nature. So this is the general definition. Even if you search on the internet, you'll get this. And they are critical and crucial in our interactions with the other persons or other living beings, if it is not only persons and as well as the nature. So as we have seen, we have witnessed the rapid progress of science and then the rapid progress in civilization. So here we try to understand everything in terms of science or with the help of scientific perspective, a scientific pursuit. Well, however, so these are, when you come to these human values, generally, these the branches of science which involve in understanding the consciousness is like neuroscience, psychology, cognitive science, behavioral science, or the social sciences. So we try to understand that. But when it comes to have a proper understanding of human values, we need to bring in the other branches of science, or even you can say allied, because these two, the philosophy and spiritual or the cultural studies, are not considered to be the mainstream part of the science. So you need to rope in them because they also give some insights about the importance of bringing the human values. And the list of human values which are most recognized, which I have listed down, of course, this is not the end of the list. This is not exhaustive. And the respect, honesty, solidarity, responsibility, empathy. And you have gratitude, tolerance, generosity, self-discipline, and non-violence. These are the few things just we will touch upon. Well, we make decisions, and based on the decisions, we take actions. Well, and what are the factors that influence our decisions, or our based on that, what are the actions which we take upon? So here, these decisions and actions which are highly subjective in nature. What I mean to say subjective in nature, I may have some decision based on that I will take an action, and the X person will take the action based on the decision which he or she feels appropriate. So where the human values will come into play, into picture. So what are these factors which are influencing the human values? So we all know intuitively or without getting into these aspects, definitely we are aware of few of the factors. So like, as I said already, I have given the definition of this from the sources. So they are the factors which influence the human values are basically the sensory inputs. So how I see a particular thing, how I hear, and how I touch or perceive through the sense perception, touch perception, and then through the taste. And it may be subjective and it is my own experience. And this may be differing with different people having their different subjective experiences. And you have a mindset. I have a fixed mindset. I don't want to go beyond this. I want to earn 100 rupees per day. But a person who is having a growth mindset, he or she wants to go beyond 100 rupees, for example, to make us understand. So, and you have a physical health, which may be restricting our activities based on our own physical health. And then again, it is subjective. And you have a mental health, upbringing, and then so on. I have listed many of these activities, many of these values. And the red things which you see, the text in the red colors, like the mindset, mental health, previous actions, habits, interests, associates, intent, free will, and then cultural practices. So all these things form, basically they are depending on the consciousness. And the famous psychiatrist, a Swiss psychiatrist, as well as psychotherapist and then psychologist. So he opines that values spring from a need of human consciousness. So he has giving a prominent significance and importance and emphasis on the need for the consciousness, the human consciousness. And it will lose their validity outside the human sphere. So basically talking more about the human consciousness rather than non-human consciousness here. So he is Carl Gustav Jung from Switzerland. And another proponent in this field, Dr. T.D. Singh, he's opined that consciousness is the birthplace of all noble qualities, including the creative scientific theories. So these are the books which I have quoted to get this quote from these books. So they are very intriguing and then giving you wonderful answers to many of these questions which are not addressed. Well, when you see a rose flower in the hands of a person, what do you see? So why this question has been put? Because this is really subjective in nature. So based on my experiences, based on the experiences which I get and then the subsequent values which I procure or which I acquire, so I will see, oh, the person's hands are, it is wet with the blood. But another person may not be seeing this, but maybe seeing a beautiful rose at the top. So here the subjectiveness comes into picture. So because the visualization is subjective in nature. I'm not getting deep into the neuron firings. Of course, I will touch upon. So here the subjectiveness is playing a pivot role, and the subjectiveness is the characteristics of consciousness. And the subjective experience prevails in consciousness studies. Well, and then the human values give the subjective experience. Because I see, oh, this person should not get hurt, should not have got hurt, but he has got hurt by holding the thorns of the stem of the lotus. But another person sees the beauty, how the rose is appearing beautiful. So this is where the human values are very much subjective in nature. So another example, I thought the PPT is not working. So on the right-hand side, a person is awaiting the help from the other people who are just walking around. And he was begging. On the left-hand side, the person who is extending the help is highly depending on the subjectiveness. So the ex-person may be shelling out $1 or 1 penny from his pocket or from his pocket, thinking that he may be in need. But another person is not giving the penny to the person, rather he is supplying food for the time. But even another person having different level of understanding, he is or she is going to extend the help in the way of giving some job. So all are helping, but their helping nature is highly subjective. So this is why these human values are subjective in nature. Same thing is true with helping the same person who is in need. So here, the person may be giving some dollars, some rupees, and so on to meet to the needs of the person, the person who is needy. But here, on the right-hand side, a person is helping, or a person is invited a person in need for food, or he is inviting for a social gathering. So there, the invitee is getting food by the person invited. What is the person is giving, the guest is being provided with the food, not as per the likings of the guest, but as per the interest of the person who is inviting. That could be the one chance. And the chance is, so the person who got in, the guest is being provided with the food what he or she likes. So here again, the subjectiveness comes into picture. So when you are selflessness, or you say renouncing the selflessness, then you provide the food which is being deserved or desired by the person who is being invited. So I'm just giving the examples to show that how the subjectiveness is very much into the role, playing a prominent role. Next, human values and emotion. So a person is sharing the knowledge, or taking a class and giving a subject lecture to the students, and it will be non-discriminative if the teacher is thinking that all are equal, though among them the relative or the close relative or even his or her son is there who is being taught. So without any discrimination, so the teacher is teaching everyone at the same level. So this is one. Then how she or he is doing, because they are controlling the emotions that, oh, he is or she is very dear to me, but he or she is a part of the group, and then I should give justice, same justice to everyone. So another example by which we can even understand, the judge without any discrimination is pronouncing the judgment, any discrimination, no discrimination. So that is one way. Or he or she is pronouncing the judgment based on that he may be my relative, or my wife, husband, whatever it is. So there the person needs good control of emotions. The same is true with the traffic police. So he or she may be allowing someone to obey the rules, or someone violate the rules of the traffic rules. So our emotions influence our decisions, which can influence our values. And another example where the science tells that when a bomb is being shelled on a location, it tells the projectile, it tells the physics, but the physics won't tell that whether it is rational or irrational in shooting that one. So, but that only brings with the human values. If a person is there who is close to this person who is operating this, then he or she may think that whether shall I contemplate on this? Shall I go with this shelling of this bomb or not? So it is a friend or enemy. So the values are getting tested here. So where the free will is coming into picture. So the free will is beyond the physical or psychological or physiological in nature. And these are the list of human values I have shown the slide earlier, which are most recognized. So just I will touch upon the few things, because so these values are being studied like individually. One aspect by different group of researchers, and then another aspect for different group of researchers around the world. But we need coherence to understand in a holistic manner, in a complete manner. So the respect, it is a fundamental value that refers to the consideration and appreciation of the needs, interests, opinions, and then feelings of the others. Well, and it is a very important aspect. It needs to be inculcated, especially right from the childhood stage. Else you can't bend them, right? And one such study by the scientists, so here I have cited this, but which is not clear here, She says that by integrating the study of culture and neuroscience, however, we can gain important insights into the complex interplay between the human values and the brain. So no offense to anyone, to the persons who are working in this neuroscience, but what he has, the group of 3 researchers who have worked on this, and they say that it is not only the neuroscience which can give you the direction, but in addition to the neuroscience, you need to bring the study of culture, cultural practices. Otherwise, it is incomplete. So there will be always a conflict between these 2 aspects. And honesty, it refers to integrity and sincerity in our actions and relationships. So here, different researchers who are working on different aspects individually. Here, the Science of Honesty project, which is in USA, Carnegie Mellon University. So the group of researchers are working on the honesty project. How and when and where this honesty will definitely be percolating into the mind, the physical mind, which you all are saying about. And another one is the solidarity. In the solidarity, one of the most important human values. So what do you say? It is about collaboration and mutual support among the people who are working in the group. So, and the such study is the outcome they explain in their own words is solidarity is not supported by constrained, instrumentalized or sacrificial actions, but can instead be a free, authentic and fulfilling way for members of an organization. So solidarity means I need to help a person, suppose. So if I know my helping would be only restricted to 1%, 2%, 10% of my earnings, I will be very happy. But if I have to give the shell out of the whole amount of earnings, then I may not be. So here it says it is so subjectiveness is being brought into the picture. And the responsibility, this is one of the human values, the most recognized human values, the ability to assume the consequences of our actions and decisions, and to take action to correct any mistakes or problems which might have occurred. So there are different aspects, how we can inculcate those values. And then empathy. So they say, you please keep your foot in my shoe and then think about what the pain I am feeling. So here, it is ability to put oneself in the shoes of others and to understand their feelings and perspectives. And how to promote this empathy? Through active listening, asking open-ended questions, and then putting yourself in other person's feelings and then validating others' feelings. Next is the gratitude. So it is recognizing and valuing the positive things we have in our life and expressing our appreciation for them. So I did not put many of the studies which are being covered by different researchers in different parts of the world in the best interest of the time. So how to promote this gratitude and expressing gratitude to the people around us, focusing on positive things in life, and remembering happy and rewarding incidents or moments, and finding ways to give back and contribute to our community. And you have the tolerance. So we should accept and then understand the cultural differences, if at all, or even not only cultural, and even the philosophical difference of views and so on. So we have to go together when you wanted to coexist in this particular society. And you have the generosity. So generosity refers to sharing and giving selflessly to others in terms of time, money, resources, and so on, whatever we can share. So the Caltech University, the group of 3 researchers led by Hutcherson says that the sense of gratification from acting generously comes from knowing that you only have to give a little bit to help someone else a lot. So this I mentioned as, so I need to give only small amount rather than giving the whole amount. So there, this is subjectiveness. If I may be able to give the whole, what I have procured or acquired, and then I may be giving only the part of that. So this is a highly, discriminative in nature. And then self-discipline. It refers to the ability to control our actions and decisions and to maintain a constant and consistent focus on our objectives and then goals. So it is very much important because it helps us developing a strong work ethics and achieve success and well-being in our our daily activities or in our lives. And the most importantly, the non-violence. So is the personal practice of not causing harm to any other person, not only person, other human being or non-living being as well. So it may come from the belief that hurting people, animals, and or the environment is unnecessary to achieve a desired goal or the outcome which we are anticipating. Well, all these values, these are the most recognized values as I mentioned. So these are being studied by different researchers from different fields of science, right? Starting from neuroscience, as I said. But the limitations which are coming out is that the neuroscience is by far the most exciting branch, no doubt in that, because the brain is the most fascinating object in the universe. So much so, the fascinating. But Stanley Prusiner says that every human brain is different. It is highly subjective in nature. So I may be having a certain qualities which may be different from the same qualities which are being possessed by the other person. And both the personalities are different because both the personalities have been brought up in different environment, different mindset, and then being inculcated by different qualities. So the brain makes each human unique and defines who he or she is. So it is not only about the neuronal activities or the neuron firings, but it is beyond the neuron firings. So why I said, because here the responsibility issue comes into the play. So this has been taken from the Savijnanam volume 8, the Journal of Bhaktivedanta Institute, Kolkata. So when we are so much of course, already we are intrigued by this neuronal firing, neuronal activities, and then so on. But where this responsibility issue is coming in? Suppose a person is shooting at the other person. So what is it prompting him or her to do that? If at all, it is manipulating the person's action. So can we remove certain neurons, bad neurons, which are firing and then prompting the person to shoot? Is it possible? If so, if not so. I'm just putting certain questions which are food for thought for all of us. And here the firing is not because of only the neurons, right? But due to the decision taken by the individual, where the decision is being come up, how the decision is being taken. If it is only about neurons, can we remove those neurons and then see that whether the person is acting differently? And one small study has been conducted by Emily Son on the decoding the neurosciences of consciousness. So here, a growing understanding of consciousness could lead to fresh treatments for brain injuries. So this was the intention, that how well we understand these activities so that we can address those things by giving proper treatment to those persons who have a brain injury. So here, these are the different images of a patient who met with an accident and then his brain, the physical, the head got injured, and then she is in a non-responsive state even after 5 months of the injury. So non-responsive state, or you can say the wakeful unawareness. So she could not respond with her physical movements of the body. But what she could understand is whatever the instructions are being given by these researchers, the scientists, she could understand, and then she could at least feel that. So what they have done to make sure that though she is non-responsive physically, but they were trying to understand by putting certain questions. When the same team of researchers asked her to imagine playing tennis, she knows, remember, she knows how to play tennis, and then she is having awareness about that. And then she was feeling that she is playing the tennis. And then with the fMRI, functional magnetic resonance imaging technique, so they could able to see that the different parts of the brain are getting activated. And the same experiment with the same instructions have been given to another person who is not having any brain injury, but he or she also met with the same outcome. Whether it is a person with wakeful unawareness or a person with full consciousness. So this neuronal correlation, it gives a correlation, the neuronal activities, but not the subjectivity. It can give only the, this correlation, depending on what person thinks. Well, and we can conclude that the mental states are responsible for the actions, not only the neuronal activities. It's too much. Huh? So another researcher from Stanford University, a group of researchers actually led by Kelly McGonigal. She is a faculty and lecturer, of course, and then health psychologist. So she has given her insights based on the research outcome that emotions can be controlled and human values can be developed and enhanced if one has a willpower, or we can say the free will or the swecha in our colloquial language. And it is ability to think, ability to control, and ability to respond can decide our human values, which are in turn depending on the level of consciousness, because different persons have different levels of consciousness, different levels of understanding in our own language. So our free will decide our emotions, response, and then human values. So these are intertwined, interlinked, and interconnected. And a small mindset shift can build resilience and help you overcome life's difficult challenges as well. So she says that if I see any difficult situation, if I feel that I can overcome that, definitely he or she can overcome that. But if he or she can get disturbed by that, that is not possible for her to for them to overcome. This is what the conclusion of a study, and it was supported by the great philosopher and a father of American psychology, this William James. So he was saying that greatest weapon against stress is our ability to choose one thought over another. So we can manipulate that. We can manipulate very easily by controlling our emotions, which are influencing our human values. And Roger Sperry, so he is a Nobel laureate in physiology and medicine, and he says that Sperry is thinking about subjective experience. So subjective experience, it says that my experience is very subjective, as I have given the example of the person holding the rose with the stem is having the thorns. So about subjective experience, consciousness, the mind, and human values makes a powerful plea for few scientific examination of ethics in the working of consciousness. And he has, enumerated all those things in his paper titled The Impact and Promise of the Cognitive Revolution in 1993. And what would like to say is the subject matter of psychology has to be brought into the understand of this, to understand the subjectiveness apart from neuroscience. So you have to bring this up. Yeah, just give me two more minutes. So the same is the case for human values. They are highly subjective in nature. And to better understand, there is a bidirectional model to understand the limitations of this modern science endeavors. I'm not saying that it is completely failed, but I'm saying there are certain handicaps. So a person can see the object, well, through the senses, or any object, any object. This is any object, need not be house, but it can be understood or perceived through the senses, and it is by the brain and the mind. When I see from to your right to the left, it is that bottom-up approach, bottom-up process. But on the contrary, if I see, because this is already creating a certain signatures in your mind. But if you have a priori experience or prior knowledge about this, then it is what you say the top-down process. So what it would like to say is we have an experience from the bottom-up approach. However, we have no complete understanding of how the experience is being perceived or stored in the brain, being generated, in fact. However, in the top-down process, our previous experiences and knowledge, and then the mental state play pivotal role in our consciousness or in our correct decisions. So the scientific research is still trying to understand the disconnect between these two, and then aspects of how a decision is being taken especially. I'm seeing something, but how I could able to take the decision, it is not still hard to understand. So this is the gray area in understanding the human values scientifically. So I don't say it is completely handicapped, but it is to the extent that how the decisions are being taken is the need of the hour. So to substantiate this, we have the hard problem of consciousness, and then which was already pronounced and then elucidated by a few of the speakers, and they have made the tone of the day. So here, the most binding problem is coming into picture. Yeah, sure. Thank you for that. So in the binding problem, I'm experiencing a certain thing, but that is based on the physical reality or the physical aspects. So I could see the color, I could see the form, I could see the texture. There are three aspects which are underpinning this particular phenomena. But how I experience that? The physical things are getting translated into the metaphysical things. So in a nutshell, if we really need to understand the role of consciousness in human values and then how they can nurture us, researchers from all fields, like starting from psychology, neuroscience, cognitive science, social sciences, philosophy, and culture, they should come together to understand the intricacies of consciousness. So this is the holistic approach by which we can understand, and we may be able to fill the gaps, which otherwise is like an hard cracking problem from the science perspective. So there are many organizations, as I mentioned, who are working towards this goal, on values and related subjects. So no barrier, not only within India, but across the globe. So people are working with different universities, right from IIT Kharagpur in West Bengal. So they're also working Reiki Center of Excellence for the Science of Happiness. So one such, which I'm just trying to list out, and John Templeton Foundation, and then you have IIM Jammu, not only in Indian, and you have other different universities, Savangal University, and then you have Stanford University and so on. And one such is, I have seen that from the Bhaktivedanta Institute as well. In conclusion, the human values are dependent on consciousness, and human values and hence human consciousness are very subjective in nature, and human values can be properly exercised in the absence of emotional bondage, and human values at the core requires the cultivation of selflessness. And human values are a function of free will, sensory inputs, and previous experiences. It is not only the sensory inputs, but you have the previous experiences as well, along with the free will. The interplay between mind, senses, and object is bidirectional. It is not one way, it is two-way approach. And human values are beyond physiological processes. So we need to understand in the realm which is beyond the physiological realm. Holistic approach in understanding consciousness is indispensable. So which is the need of the hour, and deeper comprehension of consciousness is essential to develop human values. So I'm not making, of course, it is a wrong heading, conclusions. These are the viewpoints, but the conclusion is yet to come. So the whole horizon is open to make and then to put our efforts in understanding these things and then to come to a conclusion by bringing in holistic approach. Thank you for your patience hearing.